One thing that I recommend that you do is to hand feed your puppy some of their meals. So I've got this puppy's kibble and I've measured it out and put it in the bowl. And then I'm going to take some of it and put it in a training pouch. And then I'm going to set the bowl aside. And now what I'm going to do is just let the puppy eat some of the kibble out of my hand. And this will really help increase the bond between the puppy and myself. Good boy. I can also start shaping in obedience cues like sit. I can shape in downs. Good. What a good boy. I can work on the recall by teaching the dog to come back to their name. Bingo! Good boy. That's it. Good. And this brings up another important tip is to not get in the habit of using your puppy's name for when they're in trouble. So it's very common to see owners yell their puppy's name when they're doing something that the owner doesn't want them to do. For instance, the puppy starts chewing on the table leg and the owner yells the puppy's name. Well, we don't want the puppy to learn to hear their name and then avoid their owner or run away from their owner. So what I would recommend doing is taking some of the kibble, tossing it out, and then practice calling your puppy back to you with their name. Bingo! Good puppy. Good puppy. That's it. If you have someone that can help you, you can have someone across the room and you can call the puppy back and forth just using their name. So that the puppy learns to respond to their name and they start to have a strong positive association to their name. Bingo! Good boy. Bingo! Good boy. Good dog. Another thing that you will want to start doing is teaching your puppy how to learn how leash pressure works. So when you first put a leash and collar on your puppy and if you pull, you're probably going to notice your puppy pull back against that pressure. We'll see if this puppy does it here. So if I pull, you'll see, you notice the puppy doesn't move toward me. Well, there he did a little bit. But you're going to notice with most puppies, especially 8 to 9, 10 weeks old, when you put this leash on them, they're going to butt against that pressure. And what you want to do is to put pressure on and get your puppy moving toward you, and then you can feed. So I can put pressure on, good, and then release pressure with the leash. All right, so pull slightly, and then have the puppy move towards you, and then you want to feed. Because what happens is the puppies learn pretty quick that if I put pressure here, they're going to try to back out of their collars. They're going to pull away against that pressure. And often what I see owners do is to give slack so the puppy finds comfort by bucking against the pressure on the leash. So you really want to put pressure on and then encourage your puppy to move with that pressure towards you and then feed. And on the opposite side of that, we want to teach the puppy not to pull against that pressure. So if I take some food out and put pressure, you see how this puppy's going into that pressure? I'm waiting for release of pressure on the leash. So let's see if we can get it. And good, okay. So I put the food out in front of this dog. He's wanting to try to pull his way through that pressure because that makes sense to him. And I want to show him actually backing up and putting slack in the leash. Good is the way you get things. Okay, so we can start off with a young puppy teaching them how leash pressure works so that we're not going to have a dog that's grown up by pulling on the leash in order to access things that they want. So again, toss some food out, put pressure on the leash. You see how he's backing up already? Good. All right, so we practice pulling toward us. Good. If the puppy moves toward us, we're going to praise and feed. And then we practice putting the food out in front, pressure. If the puppy backs up out of that pressure, so let's see this tension on the leash. I'm looking for it to go slack. And I'm going to wait a little bit longer here. Let's see if it starts to slacking up. And he's making eye contact, which is good. There it is. Good. So I'm not asking for a whole lot. All right, so that's another thing that you want to be concentrating on with a young puppy. Another thing that we want to do is to start off at a young age introducing grooming tools, certain medications like ear cleaners to the puppy so that they get good at accepting these types of things as they get older. So what I'm going to do is I just had this puppy tethered. I'm going to put a few pieces of kibble out in front of the puppy. I'm going to start off by touching the puppy's paw, good, and scooting the kibble to the dog. I'm going to pick up that paw again, good, and scoot the food into the dog. Then I'm going to put some more kibble here, and I'm going to take these nail clippers, pick up the paw, and just touch the clippers to the nail, and then I'm going to feed. And I'm doing all of this just with the puppy's evening meal. Pick up the paw, touch it to the clippers, good, and feed. Good. So when the first time that you introduce nail clippers, you should not, good, clip your dog's nails. You want to be doing this at least a few times a week before you're ready to start to clip the dog's nails. And then you would clip one or two, and then go back to doing this exercise for another day or two, and then you would go and clip a few more. Now when this puppy is a year old, then I hopefully should be able to go and clip all of the dog's nails at once. But I want to start off showing the puppy that me touching your feet and the nail clippers touching your nails is not something really scary. Good. Same thing with things like ear cleaners, especially if you have a breed that is prone to ear infections, retrievers, Cocker Spaniels. If you're not sure, just Google your breed and see if they're prone to it. But most any dog's going to have to need routine ear cleaning. So what I'll do, very similar to the nail clipping, good. And I thought the cap was on, but I usually will have the cap on and I just touch this ear cleaner to the ears and feed. Good. And I may do this once a week and then practice cleaning the dog's ears along with feeding the dog. Because I want the dog to create these nice positive associations of all these things that are going to have to be done to them as they grow up. Good puppy. And now I'm going to give the remaining kibble to this puppy. And what I'm also going to do is I've got a little bit of cheese here, and I'm going to reach into the bowl and drop cheese. All right. And this helps with resource guarding. So I want the puppy to learn that my hand reaching into that food bowl is a good thing for the puppy. Good. Now if you're do not try this with an adult dog that is guarding food, and if your puppy is growling when you reach into the food bowl, then I would recommend that you consult a professional trainer. Good. But this is a great exercise to practice to show your puppy that you reaching into their food bowl and touching their food bowl, good things happen. So I'm just touching the bowl, putting my hand in the bowl and dropping cheese. I can pick up the bowl, give cheese, and give the puppy back the bowl. So that's another really great exercise that you should be practicing. Another thing that's really beneficial to start working on is restraint exercises. When you take your puppy to the vet, the veterinarian is going to have to restrain your puppy in order to give them vaccinations, do various exam procedures like look in the mouth, look in the ears. And so it's really important that you practice these type of restraint exercises at home. And so what I'm going to do is I have a few pieces of food treats and I put it in my pouch. I'm going to do some things like hold the puppy. And I want the puppy learning to be still. Good. And hold the puppy again. I'm going to lift the puppy's leg up. Good. So I want this puppy to learn that me picking up feet, good. It's going to be a good thing for the puppy. I'm going to restrain him here. Good. And feed. I'm going to look in the ears. Good. And feed. I'm going to look in the mouth. Good. And feed. Pick the puppy up. If the puppy starts to get really wiggly, I will not set the puppy down while they're wiggling. I want them to learn to be calm in my hand or in my arms. This puppy is being calm, so I'm going to set him down. Good. Okay, so practice lots of different handling procedures with your puppy so they really get used to being handled. Good. And make it enjoyable for the dog. Good. As much as you can. All right. Good. Good boy. Good. Very nice. Paw. Good. Ear. Good. Lift up tail. Good. All right, so you can be creative with what you do with your puppy. You just want to make sure that your puppy doesn't freak out. You want to make sure that your puppy's somewhat okay with it and then be rewarding as you're working your way through all these handling procedures. If your puppy is getting very distressed, then you need to go back a few steps and go a whole lot more slowly. But just remember that if your puppy can't handle you going through these exercises, then they're going to have a really difficult time when they have to go to the vet. So this is something that's not the funnest thing to work on with your puppy, but it's probably one of the most important things that you can do. Another thing that you should be doing, playing crate games. Throwing food inside your crate, letting your puppy come back out of the crate. Good puppy. Good kennel. Good. And you should do these often so that your puppy learns that every time they go into the crate, they're not always going to be shut in. So you can have your puppy run in and out of the crate. Bingo. You can work on having the puppy go into the crate, getting fed, closing the door for a couple seconds, feeding, and opening the door again. All right, good. Practice putting the puppy in the crate, closing the door, and then doing a really short wait. So don't let the puppy come out on its own. Make the puppy wait in there for a few seconds. You feed, and let them come out on a release cue. Okay. Then you can put some food inside your kennel, close the door, let the puppy try to figure out how to get inside the crate. We let the puppy smell and sniff around the crate for a little bit, and then we open the door. So we want to try to create a desire to want to be inside that crate. One thing that you should not do is roughhouse with your puppy. I know a lot of people really enjoy getting the dogs all riled up by using their hands and kind of goosing the puppy, and that's just going to lead to excessive play biting. Because it's really not fair for you to be using your hands in a roughhouse manner and then get upset when your puppy bites you. A puppy doesn't have hands, they use their mouth. So just as where humans use their hands, a puppy's going to use its mouth back at you. So I highly recommend that you do not roughhouse with your dog. If you want to play and interact with your dog, then I would recommend using tug toys or tossing balls and playing a little bit more of a constructive manner. Boy. Good.